Yeah, the job's good. I think one thing that I want to talk about though is people obviously. So working in a restaurant, it's a pretty stressful thing. A lot of people have stressful jobs, and I've noticed one thing that this is more of a serious topic. Is the way people like handle stressful situations, and like I learned a lot of things playing sports, and like especially in university when they like put me through like sports psychology, like that was like a seminar like we had to go to was talk to a sports psychologist, and him like trying to talk to us about like what the difference between like a winning mindset and a losing mindset is. And I kind of see it like all the time, like with like people outside of sports, and it really makes me happy that I played sports because I learned these things, and I can take them in other things. But like every now and then I run into people that they didn't have that experience, so like I don't necessarily know where they would learn it. And so basically what I'm getting at is there was a girl that I work with, and she's been kind of worried about failure. You get in trouble when you make a mistake. Your boss comes at you, and you're like, shit, like, I don't want to screw up anymore because I don't want to keep getting in shit for things. And so, she wrote this list, and it was basically a list of things to not do. Do not do these things. When you make a list of do not do these things, it's kind of like do not do point one, and then at the end of that, there's kind of like that imaginary or else. There's like that, I can't do this or I will fail. But when you talk to yourself like that, you're kind of almost manifesting that fear of I'm going to fail anyways, because you're already like preparing your brain to think like that. Whereas the way I was trained, because of this seminar I had to go to, was you don't say I can't do this or I'll lose. It was I need to do this to succeed. You're so classy.
So I can't. He said serious topic. I'm like, I'm gonna try to hold it in, but it ain't working, buddy. We ain't making it this whole conversation. I've seen you go on these tangents. I don't got that kind of time. My belly gonna burst. But I'll continue.
Okay, so what was saying?
Mariah Faith.
It's if you talk about it's I can't do this or I'll fail. It's I need to do this to succeed.
Yes.
And so that was like the whole like when she showed me the list, that was the biggest takeaway I got from it. It's like every single one of these, she's just setting herself up for the I can't do this or I'll fail ideology. And,
this is the loser's checklist.
Exactly, and it's like, how do you expect yourself to just dodge all these potholes when you're like, oh, I gotta move, but I can't hit all these potholes without falling in? Well, what if I'm just looking for my next step and I'm just keep running? Then you're not looking for all the holes, you're looking for all the places you can go. Mm-hmm. And so the story that the psychologist gave us when he told us this, he said he used to be a psychologist for the Leafs back in like the early 2000s. And he said the team wasn't very good. We know.
That psychologist, he's might have turned around their physique. I don't know what he turned
and so, it makes sense a team like that hired a psychologist because they were trying to figure out why can't we win games.
What is wrong with our entire organization?
And so he said that when he talked to all the team players on the team, most of them, like 90% of them, answered the same way. I'm just worried about doing this. I can't be giving up these plays, or like I have to be doing this, or I'm gonna get beat. Yeah. And they're all talking like that, except for one person. And if you have any hockey knowledge, you already know who I'm talking about. But that one person is saying, I think we can win if I do this, this, and this. I think that as long as I just try really hard in this moment, that'll give us an edge here, and then I think that'll help us build momentum. Like, he's thinking so positively, and ultimately, that's the winner's mentality.
Yeah.
Now, out of those teams, which one of those is probably going to be in the Hall of Fame? It's Matt Sundin. There's only one guy on that team that had any value to his name at the time.
There's only one person on that team that had a name.
Yeah.
There's nobody else on that team can be name dropped.
Right?
They can if you can find their rookie cards, you can sell it back to them for $5. That's about all they're getting. So yes, 100%. Matt Sundin.
And that's the thing. It's like when you think about all the players on the team, everyone's thinking about how they're going to lose, and there's only one person on that team that managed to think about what do I need to do to win.
Yeah.
And it's like you really especially for me, that was, the obvious impact there is now I'm thinking to myself, is like, I need to think of how I talk to myself. And in the same way, in that moment when I was talking to her about her list, I could see that she was struggling with that same thing, yet she never played sports, so how would she learn something like that? Like, you don't learn those lessons in school. I don't know where you learn those lessons, because I had it in my experience, but I can't think of another.
I don't think you do. You learn it from somebody else. Basically, you learn it the way that she probably will now is from you, from somebody that was in sports or somebody that's been through something like in that scenario.
Done but like those like self-help books or something like that.
Yeah, that's the only way. Yeah, I guess self-help books and at that point, if you don't already know like kind of what they're going to be talking about, you don't know how to actually implement those properly.
Yeah.
But yeah, sports and hard sports and things that are actually difficult for you.
Now, I know there are other ways to do it, because like obviously, like, my lady's really good about, like, building yourself and personal growth. And, like, since I've been with her, been over 2 years together, that's, like, the number one thing that I've gotten out of this relationship is I've grown emotionally so much more than I ever have at any point in my life. Because one thing that she's done over the years is she's read those books. She's gone to things to try and learn how to be better and build yourself and grow. And now, like, she's, when I'm running into certain things, she's, like, reminding me of these things. So, like, I take what I learned in football, and I take the things that she's reminding me of that she's learned, and I'm sitting here, like, trying to improve the way my brain thinks all the time. Because, like, for me, one of my biggest things was negative self-talk. When I get into some kind of, like, headspace, I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, wow, I can't believe how much my brain is telling me I hate myself right now.
Yeah.
I can't believe how much I'm just... the negativity that my brain thinks. And it's okay, like, you can sit there and be like, but Dustin, you're so good at this and this and this. And it's like, when I'm in that headspace, I'm like, that's cool, but I know what I'm bad at.
When you destroyed me at Madden last week, I put myself in that's how little it takes. I can be losing a little bit in a video game, and it makes me feel like I'm a failure as a father. That's
We're talking so real right now. This guy's like, yeah, so I was playing Madden with you.
but no, I'm resonating with it, because it is a serious thing where I think we probably subconsciously kind of bonded over this because of the fact that not the video game aspect of it, but the fact that a little thing can trigger us to the point of we can no longer notice anything else. We kind of go, our brains single focus on that, let us know that we fucked that up. Just because we did all these other things right, we fucked that one thing up, so now we failed. Whereas, like, for the most part, we don't have that. We can look at it, take our steps, but the second we actually get a failure, that's where our brains are like, fuck, we fucked something up, we have to figure it out, and until then, we're pissed.
Yeah, I think one thing that I kind of, like, picked up from football is that I don't really have those moments until the situation's kind of passed. So, like, for me, it would be, like, after the football game. Mm-hmm. Because, like, when you're in the thick of something, or in related to sports, when I was in the middle of the football game, it's like I have no memory. And honestly, maybe it's translated to real life a little.
Yeah, when you block with your head, that'll happen.
But, like, I'll literally, like, if I'm dealing with something and something bad happens, it's like, oh man, that sucks. But, like, my brain just, like, flips the page and goes straight to the next moment. And now I'm in the next moment. This is the situation. These are where my cards are dealt. Now I'm just in here to play the next hand. But, like, once that is all done and all those moments are passed, I'm like, all right, it's over. Let's reflect on it. When you're in that headspace, it's so hard. And, one time I went to a talk with Hope, and the speaker, he said a lot of things. Not everything was super helpful, but one thing he did say that I took from that was he talked about, I mean, I guess I'll bring it to the cliche metaphor that most people already know, and it's you've got two wolves in your head. One of them's dark, one of them's light. Which one's going to win the fight? Mm-hmm. Well, it's whoever you feed the most. A lot of people have heard that before. It's not super deep or anything, but that idea of if you're going to let the darkness sit at your table and sit at that table and talk to you, the darkness is going to come out. Mm-hmm. You can't let that darkness sit at the table with you. And it really is when I sit there and I think about that, it frustrates me because it's so easy to negatively self-talk yourself when you when you fuck up, and it's such a spiral when you take the idea of letting the negative self-talk be your fuck up to encourage more negative self-talk.
Yeah.
And it's like breaking that cycle really, it takes a lot of growth. And that's the thing. It's like, you know, I'm not saying this to like tell everybody where you need to fix things. I guess it's just kind of like...
we're not finished project. We're fucking not even close.
I just feel like I needed to like talk about it because to me it's something that I'm actively like trying to work on. And like, you know, sometimes I'm still not getting it. Sometimes I'm still sitting in the darkness thinking to myself all of these things that like none of my successes mattered to anything. Like I'm still thinking all these negative things. But every now and then it's getting more and more consistent where like I'm not letting myself get after myself. And I feel like if more people sit there and think about who are you letting sit at your table, maybe you can get out of that hole a little bit faster than you might have before if you weren't thinking about it. So,
yeah. And like you said, most people don't even know that there's two seats. They just whatever's going through their head is going there. So just saying this, I'm sure a lot of people will kind of resonate with what you're saying.
Yeah,
It's definitely gonna be helpful.